Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea because today we have very interesting stories and one of them is a story about an OP who was a servant for OP's controlling mother, so when he refused to do another task of hers, she kicked him out immediately. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. My dad is the only member of my family with whom I have a close relationship as he is the only one who accepts my choice to remain child-free and focus on my career and travel. As for my stepmom, stepbro and his wife, uncles, aunts and cousins, all of them have given me hell for my lifestyle. I'm in my mid-30s now and ever since I had entered my late 20s they began badgering me to get married, preferably to a man my father chooses for me. I'm Indian so you can imagine how this goes. I got the usual bullcrap bingos, who will take care of you when you're old, you're selfish for only thinking about yourself, you need to marry and breed because that's what women do. Around 4 years ago I finally got sick and tired of them and decided to ignore their calls and texts. I've only maintained low contact with my stepbrother because he was not quite as horrid as the others. I was never close with these people to begin with, so it wasn't difficult. For a while they took to harassing my dad to get him to get his daughter in line, but he shut them down by saying that it was my life, my decisions. At the time when this incident took place, a certain crisis had arisen in my extended family, one that directly affected my dad. I don't wish to go into details, but it compelled me to interact with these people again. So, my stepmom's sister, her husband, their teenage son along with their grown son, his wife and their toddler, came to our city to discuss matters. My dad and I decided that we can all chat at my place as it's close to the airport. So all of these folks along with my dad, stepmom, stepbro and sis-in-law and their baby are at my place. We all ate dinner and talked about the issue at length. However, it was quite an ordeal for me as I had to constantly tell off the toddler, stepmom's great niece, as she kept trying to grab my cat and dogs or make loud noises at them. I asked her parents to intervene, but they just laughed it off. My pets are very well behaved, but are not used to being around kids, especially if they're annoying little brats whose parents refuse to discipline them. As soon as the discussion was over, stepmom's sister asked which of the bedrooms was for them. I was caught a bit off guard and asked her what she meant. Her husband chimed in and asked, rather demanded, that I get 2 of the bedrooms ready for their family. We'll be spending the night here. Oh, and breakfast had better be served before 8 o'clock in the morning, as we don't want to miss our flight. He said this with the matter-of-factness of a seasoned parasite. This was my breaking point. Not once had I indicated that they would be staying at my place. I just offered to host them for dinner once, that's it. Even my dad was shocked. I told them very bluntly that I'm not particularly fond of their family and do not feel comfortable letting them spend the night. Also, how the hell did they get this ridiculous idea anyway? Now my stepmom flared up. She no longer speaks to me directly, so she began asking my dad why his daughter could not put up family members in her home for one night. How can she be so selfish? My stepbrother's kid chose this exact moment to start bawling. So my sil told her to stop yelling as the baby was getting upset, thanks kid. I told everyone in a firm voice that we've discussed what we were supposed to discuss and it was time for them to leave. Stepmom and her sister walked out grumbling. Everyone else followed. The toddler's mom asked if her kid could pet my dogs. I just said no with a straight face which seemed to piss her off. The baby was still bawling like a champ, so no one was able to say anything else. I never even wanted these people in my home to begin with, so letting them spend the night was obviously out of the question. If they had asked beforehand and asked politely then I would have considered it. But I refuse to be a doormat for idiots who can't keep their entitlement in check. The icing on the cake was that sentence, breakfast had better be served before 8 o'clock in the morning, as we don't want to miss our flight. As if somehow if OP had agreed to let them stay, OP magically became a hotel offering a free breakfast. I work in a big movie theater that has 9 theaters and 2 bars. Up to a certain time we're family friendly, kids from 4 to 14 are allowed to come with parents and kids from 15 to 17 can come by themselves. However, after 8 p.m. we stop running the kids' movies, PG, and only kids from 15 to 17 can come with parental supervision. One of the reasons for this is because there is a bar people hang out at. I'm working in one of the theaters playing Joker for the 9:15 showing, and a single, ticket-wise, guy came in and took his seat. I checked his ticket, cool, he's good to go. About 10 minutes in, my manager comes into the station and points to this guy's seat on our seating chart. Manager ED. Look, I know you know. That's a guy on his own, right? Me. Yup, why what's up? He just dropped his 3 kids off in the bar area because they're too young to see Joker. Basically this dude had 3 kids, one was 12, the others roughly 10 and 7, tried to get them all into Joker, but was told by our ticketer that they were too young, so he just left them there and went in by himself. According to now the kids were wrecking the lobby and bar, knocking over our cardboard cutouts and screaming and wetting it. We go into the theater and kneels down by ED and politely and quietly tells him he can't leave his kids in our bar lobby. ED. The oldest is 12, he can watch them. Sir, after 8 our age cutoff is 14 and they still need a parent with them. ED, not at all trying to be quiet. Well, that's stupid. This is supposed to be a family-friendly neighborhood. That's just our policy. And your kids are causing a disturbance at our bar. You need to get them now. ED. I'm watching a movie, man, just send them to the park across the street. Wow, what a great father. At this point backs up and radios for security, who is this big scary looking guy who's naturally actually a big teddy bear, but he shows up and when ED sees him he leaves without causing a scene. He muttered some crap about us and how we were going to lose all our business because we don't cater to parents, etc. All in all, not super dramatic like some on here. I just thought he was a terrible parent. As a note, there have been a couple robberies in the park across the street lately, so sending your young children over there at night is extra bad. Next time OP should call the cops for abandoned kids. That's essentially what happened, and Dad clearly needs a lesson in responsibility. My mom, me, 18, T and J, 2 small brothers, T is 13, J is 6. So some backstory, basically expects us to act as her servants, while she does the bare minimum of being a mother and has a long history of terrible mothering. Her and Dad have divorced now, since she wanted to be free. She is also a failure by all accounts, a smoking housewife with no skills, or friends or anyone who loves her for that matter. She is kept around because Jay gets really sad without her, even though she is bad for him too, so my dad can't quite tell her to back off. Keep this in mind. So me and Dad go out for some breakfast shopping. I come home, asks me to get her some cheese because she likes cheese. I oblige. After about an hour she decides to get out of bed. Yelling commences immediately. Apparently T didn't hear her request to make the tea. So of course, since she is my mom and angry, she gets to treat me like crap when I literally did nothing bad and tea over a simple issue, and I get yelled at to fix all the beds in the house and berated for how unsuccessful I am for having taken a gap year and just how stupid I am, etc. I knowingly didn't do the best job at fixing the beds because after 18 years of serving this spoiled idiot I don't want to keep doing it, as she calls us spoiled. She gets madder, calls us to the kitchen, we go. She instantly starts doing more straight up unfair insults as we say nothing out of respect and instilled fear because when we were small, any rebellion would get you slapped. I decide to turn around and leave the room. She grabs me in the corridor and tells me to get the hell out of her house. Dad owns it and she has no right since they are divorced. I tell her it's my house as much as it's hers and she can't kick me out. She repeats, I dare her to try something. She only says okay, I'm leaving then, and is dumbfounded when I don't beg her to stay and treat me and my brothers more terrible. So I decided to take a shower and let this all blow over. No need to explode on her and cause her to have a breakdown or try to hit me. Idiot freaking comes in halfway through my shower and yells at me to leave. I tell her okay and to wait for me outside the shower. I get out, she is still demanding I leave. I snap. I state that I don't want her to be a nice caring mom, I want her to back off in her unrealistic expectations and insulting, show respect. She openly says she won't respect us, so I rip into her for being the crap mom and massive selfish failure she is. She proceeds to threaten to call the cops and I dare her to do it. Dad somehow gets wind of this, comes into the house, tries to get us to talk it out. Mom tries to basically get him to support her and have me kicked out. It backfires as my dad has finally stopped helping act like a spoiled child. She gets up and leaves. After 18 years I finally made a stand for myself and my brothers and it ended up unexpectedly well, all my kecks. She genuinely thought and still thinks that we couldn't manage without her and tried to prove her point and failed miserably. It was the most nice and peaceful day we had in weeks. Of course, being the strong independent woman she is, she didn't even last a day outside. Ironic considering she was yelling at me over how she could do fine outside, but my butt would starve. The crap storm only continued, but that's for part 2 if this gets enough attention. Update, context for this part: I love my dad, he tries his best, but he's just a bit too emotional sometimes, and during this part we do come at odds, make of that what you will, but he has no ill intent. What's also relevant is I've been debating semi-professionally to professionally for 6 years and have a capability of being really cold. It's a self-protection mechanism and helps me keep rational but comes off as a heartless idiot. So immediately after my mom backs off, dad calls me in, we speak about how Em is so spoiled and entitled, how she refuses to get help to be a better person, etc. He confides in me that he decided to leave the house and leave us with her earlier because Jay would get so upset despite him, knowing it's worse for him as well, but realized that wasn't gonna work. I strongly advise just letting her hell off. He seemed to mostly agree, but he's way more emotional than I am, also mom is his first girlfriend. He did agree and said he wasn't holding her back from leaving really, which is kind of a lie as evidenced before and in this part. At night of course Em comes back, dad pulls us all in the kitchen to talk it over. Em immediately launches into a rant basically demanding service and acting like any of the crap she pulls is justified. I tell her I just want to be respected. She makes the argument that we need to fulfill basically all her unrealistic expectations for her to merely treat us like humans. I tell her she has to compromise, and even if we upset her, she has no right to do the level of degrading she does. Dad backs me up and also states that me doing a gap year out of choice isn't equivalent to being a failure when she starts on that. She pulls a couple of things about how she can't be replaced as much as she does less than a maid would and abuses us on top of that, and we argue on that but not much. I'm no longer really pulling punches to be honest. Dad is sorta upset that I don't speak much about my issues, but I say I made my point clear and didn't do anything wrong. I just want to be treated decently and have her tone down her expectations of us. Bunch of yelling occurs, you came out of me you ungrateful piece of crap being a highlight. She storms out of the kitchen without backing down even a tiny bit and says, you can apologize whenever you want. I snap back with you too. She gets mad and angry and yells disrespect. She leaves the kitchen, starts preparing to leave again, dad holds her up, they have some amount of fighting and yelling occur between them. I start preparing coffee to lower tension and pass the time instead of argue and contribute to all the yelling already present, also partially to keep my keks contained. She comes toward the kitchen having done a crap pack-up job holding a big solid wooden hairbrush. I am still prepping my coffee and hugging my brothers to calm them. She eats her brush directly at my head, thankfully missing, and yells about how I didn't even try to stop her once. Dad finally snaps and yells at her how she has no right to physically hurt or kick her children out of the house. Mom tries to say some more crap, I yell apologize about not having Stockholm syndrome, more yelling. They go to their bedroom again, me and bros move to the living room as me and T try to keep Jay in check as the small boy makes futile attempts to stop the fighting. Now keep in mind I have been rock solid throughout this, not a flinch in my voice, not any effort to compromise or be nicer to her than she was to me. I was also kinda upset at my dad for basically lying to her that she shouldn't take me too seriously because I am a child and expecting me to basically be the bigger person at the same time. So I'm not backing down one tiny bit. Dad kinda gets upset because I am not emotional over T's cries, as if a 6-year-old's opinions over anything are to be trusted in deciding the fate of an entire household. Dad tells me I am being too cold. I tell him I'm doing what's best for all of us and to deal with it and keep his word and let her go. He sighs, but knowing I am right doesn't fight it. They talk and argue with my mom a bit more, not yell fighting at least this time. I don't know what magic he did, but he convinced mom to stay and not be a raging idiot. Mom's been treating me and my brothers much better since then, but I know it's all a facade and temporary, and I think my dad does too. He still fails to understand that Jay will be better off once the initial shock wears off, not like she does much actual mothering to him anyways. He just loves him regardless and is basically trying to find a way to replace mom with more than a maid and will talk to grandma etc. I'm just happy he isn't considering leaving us alone with her just because he can't say no to Jay anymore. When she starts next time to rage at you, just pick up the phone and start filming. That's the best defense you can get at this moment. Maybe she calms down because of the shame if you release the footage. This happened back in the spring to my husband and I as we were walking our dog around the neighborhood. We generally take our big happy floofer on a loop around our neighborhood, generally maybe about 1 kilometer in total. Our dog Link is a happy doggo and loves his walkies. He also recognizes the words cloud, cute and fluffy, and generally knows it's about him, he's such a pretty boy. Anyways, there's the background. Onto the story. Past. EM. Entitled Migraine of a Woman, TB. Trashy boyfriend, LK. Little kid in a stroller, maybe 2, H. Husband. So H and I were walking our dog on our normal circuit and we're about halfway through, so he was starting to calm down. He starts his walk super hyper and excited, but generally starts to chill out about 10 min in. We were looping the top part of the neighborhood and we heard a little voice yell puppy. A couple of times. Then an older female voice OMG. He's so cute. He looks just like a cloud. That got Sir Pupperbit's attention and he wanted to go over and get the sacrificial love offering because he's so unloved at home between us and the kids lol. So we continued since they were coming our way out of the subdivision until we're up close and the mom asks us if she and her daughter can pet the dog. We. Of course. He's super friendly. She and LK start getting some puppy love going for our pooch. He's loving the attention. All is good. EM. Oh, he's so soft. Babe, can we get one? TB. Oh yeah babe. Sounds good. Hey dude, where'd you find your dog? H. Oh, we got him from a breeder. TB. Oh cool. Is there a breeder around here? Me. We actually had to go to the city about 3 hours away to pick him up. TB. Oh damn. We don't have a car so that won't work for us. Can I give you guys $100 for him and we call it good? H. No. He's a purebred Samoyed with papers from the breeder. He cost us over $2,000 when he was a puppy. EM. Babe, throw in the bottle of Henny in the stroller. TB. Yeah, you can have our bottle of Henny too. Pulls out a bottle of Hennessy that has maybe 1/5 left in it. H. No thanks. We don't drink. E. Sorry, we need to move on. He needs to finish his walk before our kids come home. H. Getting the dog's attention that it's time to get going. Okay, we'll see you later. So we keep walking, but we notice the couple and the kid have changed direction and started following us at a delayed pace. We both agree they look like they're following us to find out where we live so they can try to get our dog later. So we extended our walk and started taking different turns and turned the maybe 1 kilometer walk into probably closer to 2.5, maybe 3 kilometers until these two finally gave up and stopped tailing us. I had to message my sister and ask her to delay bringing the kids home and told her the situation. We haven't seen any of the sketchy family members since this, but we generally avoid the low-income homes now and have altered our walk pattern since they were willing to follow us for 45+ min to try and track where we were going. I can't believe the audacity of these people. Did they really try to buy your dog from you? And for 100 and almost an empty bottle. He's a dog, not a toy. He's priceless. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about an OP who came to her house and found out her key doesn't work anymore. You will be shocked to learn the reason for her mom evicting OP. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.